Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Christian Natividad, who just won his fight on LFA 196. Hello, Christian. How are you?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm good, and I was really impressed because of your last performance. It was bout against Devon Jackson. I think that right now he's 3-3, but overall he's a very good fighter. He got a win over Joshua Van, who recently won his fight on UFC. So overall, really good fighter. And to be honest, it was really impressive performance by you. And if you can tell me, did you feel after also a long break?
Yeah, so um, I know he's 3-3, Devon Jackson, but that motherfucker is tough. He if you look at his record, like you mentioned, he beat Joshua Van, which Joshua Van is killing it right now in the UFC. I think he's like 5-1 or maybe 6-1, something like that. But Joshua Van's doing really well in the UFC right now. And Devon Jackson, his other losses are to other upcoming prospects too, like people that are undefeated or people that are, working their way up to making a big name in the regional scene. Hopefully, they'll be in the UFC here sometime soon. Uh, he was tough, man. He was very, very tough, and he's a dog, which makes the fight even tougher, but it makes the fight that much more exciting. Having such a long layoff though, because I dropped him in the first 30 seconds, and after I dropped him, I tried to wrestle him here a little bit. The game plan was always to stay on the feet and not to take him down, but after I dropped him and I try to take him out there, when we got back on our feet, I was like, oh, I am heavy right now. And I just had a massive adrenaline dump. So for all the people that says that ring rust isn't a thing, maybe for them ring rust isn't a thing. But for me, like that was the first time I've experienced ring rust, and it was a great showing of me coming back into the MMA game.
But I think that, of course, it would be great if you would finish him like really quickly. But overall, I think that like 15 minutes fight for you after this kind of break, it also is kind of good thing because you spend this time in a cage with a very good opponent, and because of that, probably in your next fight you will be much better than in this fight.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely more time in the cage. It's always a good thing because you get more experience, more minutes. Uh, being in that situation. You know, I've been coming across a couple of, a few decision wins, and I gotta definitely get back into, knocking some people out.
And because of this break, I think that you are kind of you were kind of forgotten man in LFA, but right now you are 6-0 in the promotion. So I think that is not many fighters who got better record in the promotion than you.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the thing about MMA and the thing about like the media these days. You could be, some of the best MMA fighter of all time, but the people are only going to remember your last performances, right? Like when it comes to BJ Penn was one of the best of all time. But when people think of him now, they think of like, a guy that was never good at fighting or a guy who just, is sitting on the couch and he just tries to fight. People forget that all the great things that he did before. And that's like a very huge extent of what I'm dealing with here right now. I was 5-0 before I got injured, and people forgot who I was. And for me to come back, add another win into my resume, it definitely meant a lot.
And before this fight, did you feel like hunger to be back in the cage?
Yeah, it was a bunch of mixed emotions. Like with being injured, one trying to figure out if MMA is something that I'm ever going to be able to do again. Like it got to that point, and then when I finally started training, I knew I was going to fight, but I didn't know how fast it would have came. I ideally I was aiming. I was talking with my management. I was talking with my coaches, maybe for September, October, November of 2024, which came to fruition. It actually happened. But as the months started going by, as like September, October, November started getting closer and closer and closer, it started to kick it. Or I started to realize that we're like a few months away from when I wanted to fight. And for Amir, when he was training for Brandon Moreno, he needed a partner, or I don't want to say he needed a partner because there's a lot of people that would have wanted to go with him, but the coaches asked me to be his main sparring partner for his fight camp, and which I obviously accepted. For me to be going against the number three flyweight in his camp, to help him is a huge honor, but selfishly for myself, for me to be training with him, that's a huge benefit for me. It was a no-brainer for me to be his main sparring partner. So I said yes, and my coaches were like, "Hey, let's get you a fight. You're pretty much in camp sparring with Amir. Let's get you a fight." And they got me a fight, and we're here today.
And also, before this fight, you won in 2022 against Israel Galvan, who I think that also is a very good fighter. He recently won a title, so I think that because you defeated in your last two bouts two really good fighters, I think that your next opponent also should be like really high level. And who knows, maybe you are like one fight away from the LFA title.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was hoping I was gonna fight Jordan Harris. Jordan Harris he was supposed to fight for the interim title, and I thought that would have been the perfect segue for me to, either fight for the title next or the interim title and then the LFA title. But we'll see how things work out. I pitched that out to the management. They pitched it to Mark Beery of the LFA. We'll see what happens.
And like stepping into the cage for this fight, did you feel that maybe something like bad will happen because you were undefeated prospect? Many people talked about you as the like really big talent, but did you feel that maybe this injury can a little bit slow it down and something bad may happen in that fight?
You know, it, During fight camp, obviously things do pop up, like, oh, don't get injured again, don't do this, don't do that. But as time went on, the more comfortable I got, and when I had my fight, people asked me like, "Hey, how's your knee?" So the injury was a knee injury. Everyone asked like, "How's your knee?" Like, did you feel your knee at all? And it was not an issue at all, and it wasn't even a thing that came to mind during the fight. So I'm every time you talk to someone who's had a severe injury, the biggest, the hardest thing to come back from is up here. You know, here's the hardest part to recover from because your knee, like my knees are good, but if I'm mentally not there, with me holding back or me not training the way I should be training because of I'm scared my knee might get injured again, it could just possibly create some other injury or cause that same injury to happen again because I'm babying it.
Yes, so Anderson Silva got a little, maybe not similar, but this kind of the like thing with the injury that he had his leg broken, and probably the first low kick in his next fight was super important, just to know that he can do it and it will not end in another injury.
Yeah, but they've been telling me like, are you sure you want to announce that you had a knee injury online, this and that, blah blah blah. People are gonna target it like you wouldn't target my leg. Like to all the people that I'm probably gonna fight here in the future, if you're watching it and you're gonna say like, oh, he had a knee injury, I'm gonna target his leg, go for it, and see what happens.
And with the knee, there is like also the technique used by John Jones, the oblique kick. And are you a fan of this kind of maneuver?
Prior to the injury, I've never been a fan of it, and with the injury, still not a fan. I just think that kick. I mean, I know the objective is to hurt, your opponent, but I feel like it's not the prettiest weapon to use because, yeah, you could potentially stop a fight from, doing one of those oblique kicks, but at the same time, too, at what cost? Like it's at the end of the day, we're all humans. We're all trying to chase the same goal, and you could possibly end someone's career using one of those kicks. And like for me to come back from this knee injury, it's honestly a a big blessing. That's really loud. Uh, um, but for me to come back from this injury is honestly like such a blessing because I honestly never knew if I was going to come back, into fighting MMA after 2023. It was definitely a tough and dark year for me.
And do you have a plan for the next year, even in your head, like when would you like to fight and maybe how many fights would you like to have in 2025?
Yeah, I want to stay as active as possible, right? And when I say stay active, I'm not talking about fighting every month because as much as that sounds like a fun thing to do, uh, the older I get, the more I think about like, hey, longevity, you got to take care of your body, that's good stuff. Ideally, in the perfect world, I would like to fight minimum 3 times a year, maximum 4 to 5. As far as when I wanted to fight, have my return fight, I wanted to fight January, February. And it sounds like we're leaning more towards February because February they're coming back to Phoenix. And I've never had a home crowd behind me as a professional until this last fight. Feeling that energy, I definitely want to relive, a similar moment like that, having a home crowd behind me and having all these people support me when I go out there and try to knock them.
Yes, it's probably like great feeling because you are not going to enemy territory, but you have your crowd behind it. That probably it's like a super cool feeling when you like knock your opponent out and everybody is like screaming your name.
Yeah, something that I've never received before that I did on this fight, because usually after my fights, my social media and my text messages, they get bombarded, because everyone's congratulating me, all this stuff. But I've never had people like sending me like videos of them recording my fight. And for me to receive that and hear their reaction behind it, it definitely hits somewhere different.
And about your beginnings in the sport, did you have any background before you started your MMA career?
Yeah, I did. So, um, I started jujitsu very late. I started jujitsu I wouldn't say it's very late, but for me it is. I started as a sophomore in high school, and since I was doing jujitsu, my teammates at jujitsu they're saying, "Hey, you should join the wrestling team. That increase your game way more." And I joined the wrestling team, the following year. As a junior, I took third in state, and then next year I went undefeated and I took state, and then I decided to wrestle in college here for a little bit. So originally, I'm a you know, ground fighter, wrestling, jujitsu. And after I knocked my first person out, that's when I fell in love with it. And that's when I was like, yo, I could hurt people with my hands. Let me just have my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu in my back pocket, and let me just try to knock all these people out. A lot of people don't know, but Devon Jackson, he's a four-time All-American in wrestling. I think he was for Greco-Roman. So, but he's a stud wrestler. One of my really good friends, Tyrell Fortune, he fights for the PFL right now. He knows Devon Jackson because Devon Jackson's the little brother of his best friend. And small wrestling is small. It's a small community, and they were all um, tight friends. And for me to be able to stuff all of his takedowns, him have uh, zero takedowns on me, it was a good feeling to know that I could defend high level.
And do you have like because Devon Jackson was like a grappler? Do you have the style in mind that you would like to face in your next fight, or maybe just in next year?
For my next fight, like I mentioned, I wanted Jordan Harris. Jordan Harris, he's a tough fighter. I was supposed to fight him before, but he pulled out twice back in 2022 due to injuries, which I definitely understand. Injuries happen. I was injured all 2023, so no disrespect to him, but kind of like Devon Jackson, that guy is down to bang. He's a tough guy. Um, he's someone that I want next because I know he's going to stand and bang with me.
And overall, in like promotions like LFA, the like flyweight or bantamweight division are super deep, and like many fighters who are currently in a UFC are from this promotion. So if you can like hang out and beat some of the prospects in LFA, you probably will have no big problems with fighting guys on the UFC level.
Absolutely. And a lot of the people I train with are in the UFC, and so for me to be training with them, giving them good rounds, I know I'm right there with, at the UFC caliber. I just got to be able to perform it, under the lights. And if I'm able to fight like how I train, there's no one stopping me.
And right now you train in Fight Ready, right?
Yeah, fight ready up in Scottsdale, Arizona.
And how did you get there? Was like the first gym, MMA gym that you went to?
No, so actually, I originally started training at Arizona Combat Sports. This is back in 2015. So when I quit the wrestling team, my brother was already fighting. and I started training with him over at AZ Combat Sports, and I just found a passion for it. I love, the violence that came along with fighting. I was around it for a long time. Just like I mentioned, my brother, he's the one who got me into MMA, and I just grew a love for it. And that's when I made my amateur debut the following year. As far as making it over to Fight Ready, the reason why I started training at Fight Ready is because back in 2020, I was actually going to move to Vegas. I was looking and buying a house there. I was talking with my work, and they were fine with me transferring over to a Vegas branch. And I was going to, start new, find a new gym, have a new home, and start my life there in Vegas. And before I pulled the trigger on purchasing a property, I actually reached out to one of my friends. He actually fights in the LFA right now, but I reached out to one of my friends. His name is Chance DK, and I've actually known him since high school. So me and him go way back. But I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, you're at Fight Ready, right?" He said, "Yeah, I'm at Fight Ready." I asked him for the schedule, sent it to me, and the following week I stopped by to Fight Ready, and Fight Ready is only 12 minutes away from my house. And I thought to myself, and I even told my brother, "Yo, Fight Ready has been this close to us. It's only 12 minutes away. There's such high level people there. And 5 years into being into Arizona, only now we're starting to train there. Let me go ahead and kind of dabble a little bit more in this gym and see if it's something that I really like." And, 4 years later, I'm still there and I'm honestly very happy with it.
And do you train or spar with the like bigger fighters like from the lightweight or welterweight division, or you prefer or have a chance more to train with the guys like flyweight or bantamweight?
I train with people all the way up to lightweight. Anything over that, it is a little, they're a little too big for me. But it's not just because of the weight, it's also because of the height discrepancy, right? Like for a welterweight to be fighting someone as short as me, most likely not going to happen. And for me to fight someone that's like 6'1", 6'2", probably not going to happen. So I don't really spar with welterweights too much. Now that being said, if I do spar with a welterweight, I mean, or if a welterweight does ask to spar, I wouldn't say no to it. Uh, as long as they're controlled, like I wouldn't want to spar with a welterweight that's trying to hurt me, because there's no reason for that. If he hurts me, like, what does he get? What do I get? And if I hurt him, like, what, I just get bragging rights? I don't really get anything for it. And that's something I'm not interested in.
And I consider you as the prospect, but of course with the actually a big name for now. But do you have in your team the like prospects, but maybe on the amateur level or like early pro that not many people know about right now, but you know that they can be like big like stars in the next few years?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of them. A lot of them actually were in the UFC and then they got cut and they're still training and they've evolved a lot. As far as the people that haven't, made it to the big show yet and they're still at the regional level, we definitely have a lot of those. We definitely have a lot of them. A couple of people that I could think of on the top of my head. These people are closer to my weight class, so this isn't talking about the people in the bigger weight classes, but Junior Cortez is one of them. It's Tracy Cortez's younger brother. He's a savage, and he should be in the UFC. Unfortunately, like the people that he fought are people that are making a killing in the UFC right now, like Christian Rodriguez, who's also my boy. That guy's really dope, and Peyton Talbot. Um, both of them are making a killing in the UFC right now. So hopefully Junior makes it up there soon. Some people in my weight class, as far as professionals goes, we have Jekka and we have this guy, David. They're both from Israel, savage guys, and I'm super glad they're in my team now. And then we also got Kyle Estrada and AJ Reese. They've been with me at Fight Ready for a long time, so um, those are people that if you haven't heard of them, definitely write their name down. If they're stock, definitely invest in stock because they'll shoot up sometime soon.
I think it is great to see that like your like friend or sparring partners like on the beginning stage of his career, and then when he will be like a big star in the UFC, like a great super talented fighter, like on the ranked position, to see him contend for the title, and you see that like progress that he made.
Yeah, seeing seeing my team succeed is feels just as good as when I succeed, right? Um, Now, with that being said, seeing my my teammates fight, I get way more nervous when they fight versus when I fight because when I fight, I'm in control. When they fight, all I can do is hope, and hope that all the training and preparation that we've done paid off. And with that being said, there is also that puncher's chance. You could be better than any other fighter, or you're better than your opponent in every aspect, the stand up, the grappling, the wrestling, all that good stuff. But if you get caught with one punch, sometimes that's all you can.
Who is your favorite fighter to watch from the UFC right now?
There's a few of them. One person that I absolutely love, obviously, Max Holloway. Max Holloway. Uh, it's not just because he's from Hawaii and I'm from Hawaii. I just love his style, and he's down to bang. Someone that I find very inspirational, and seeing him fight, from seeing him like grow up on the same rock that I've grown up on, and for him to make it, just makes me believe that hey, if he could do it, I could do it too. Um, Now, on the flip side of that, someone else that I love to watch is Ilya Taporia, and I know they just fought, and always went with Max Holloway. Like as far as when they I was 100% on Max Holloway's side, but Ilya Taporia, his style is probably my favorite style that I've seen in the UFC.
And about Max, who do you think should be his next opponent?
So he did talk about moving up to lightweight, which I think that would be phenomenal thing for him. He's big at 45, and he has a great chin. And I'm not saying that the weight cut is what is the reason that got him knocked out, because it definitely isn't. Ilya Taporia just has a lot of power and weight that he transfers through those punches. Because Matt Holloway, he's taken many blows, to at featherweight, and he's never been dropped. But as far as Matt Holloway's opponent, I think one fight that he should do is against Charles Oliveira, because they did run it a long time ago. It didn't really play out the way that everyone thought it was going to play out because Charles Oliveira got hurt. But for them to run it back again, especially with how much Charles has progressed over the years, I think that would be a banger. Definitely BMF material right there.
Yes, this probably is the best matchup because both guys are former champions. Both of them did like some amazing things. And of course, this fight that happened in probably 2015, it's like it was, let's say, no fight. Of course, Max won it, but it was like super short. And I think that it is fight to make. And actually, I think that Max would be like favorite to win this one.
I think so too. Charles Oliveira, he's very dangerous, like, on the feet, on the ground. But Matt Holloway, his takedown defense is great. His stand up, I think, is better than Charles Oliveira. Volume. I think that would be a fun fight and definitely a potential fight of the year candidate.
And last weekend, the UFC flyweight title was on the line, and Alexandre Pantoja defended one more time. And are you impressed by the things that he's doing right now in the flyweight division?
What makes Pantoja so good, in my opinion, is very similar to that what makes Devon Jackson good, and he's just tough. Like you watch his previous fights, and he gets really tired. Pantoja gets really tired. He's huffing and puffing, but that guy don't stop. And from what I heard, that guy is very very strong. So as far as him making a run at UFC the flyweight division, well, good for him. I know he trains hard. Uh, from what I hear, he's a good person. From what I heard, he was at Fight Ready actually for a little bit, and he's training with Henry Cejudo. That's what I heard. But um, good for him. Good for him.
And getting back to your career, because we know that like training and fighting is like a really tough sport. But for you, what is the biggest motivator for you to go train, to fight, to put like your health on the line?
So a big thing about this man, I'll tell you a small story, and I keep it pretty short. But uh, November 2021, I quit my job, and it was a good paying job. and I quit it to do MMA full time. And MMA became my job, became something that I had to do every day. The reason why I like MMA so much is just because I like to fight. You know, when I was younger, when I was in still going to school, we would just gather together in my garage or at the park, throw on some gloves, no mouthpiece, and we would just swing and try to knock each other out. And we all had a good time from it, you know, no hard feelings from it. Sometimes my neighbors, when I was still in elementary school, they would bring other random kids over to my house, and they would have these party kids, no mouthpiece, sometimes no gloves, and we would just, you know, throw down. Now, when I made MMA my only thing, when I quit my job and just focused solely on MMA, I started to lose you know, my love for it because I was obligated to be there. I was always around or on the mats versus if I were to just do it as as a hobby, you know, like right now I treat it as if it was a hobby, you know, a hobby that I'm very, very good at. I find my passion for it, and even though I'm not obligated to be there, I still show up to practice. You know, I don't skip practice. I still show up. It's just it's crazy when you shift your paradigm, things can change, and your viewpoints on things can change. Your passion for things can change.
And outside of fighting, of like world of MMA, if you have a little bit more of the free time, even now when you are after the fight, do you have like an additional hobby or passion?
Yeah. So my days are busy, man. So like I mentioned, I don't skip practice. I mean, there's days where I can't make it, but I show up to every practice that I can. During fight camp, I'm there all the time at practice, but I still train twice a day, every day. I still do my 2 a day sessions. As, on my off time, I work a full-time job, so I work 40 hours a week, you know, and I really got to thank the company that I work for because they give me that flexibility to still train twice a day. So just combining those two together with me training twice a day and me working 8 hours a day, you know, it doesn't really leave too much time left as far as what I could do. But other hobbies that I have, like I absolutely love music. I love music. I've been playing the piano since I was young and playing the ukulele since I was young too. So I always love playing music. So whenever I have like, you know, 30 minutes, sometimes not even 30 minutes, sometimes just 10 minutes, I just open up the piano and I play a couple songs. You know, it's something that I absolutely love, and I still do it like multiple times a week. Also love rock climbing. I love to rock climb and eating. Who doesn't like to eat, right? So when I say eating, trying new restaurants, making new recipes, and I enjoy all of this stuff. You know, especially doing it like alongside with my fiance.
And about playing the piano, did you does it help you to like uh, did you like does it like help you to calm you down to like zone out a little bit?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like music, I absolutely love music. Even just listening to music too. A lot of people think like every time I'm listening to music since I'm a fighter, I'm just listening to that like hardcore like let's fucking go like type of music. Sometimes I just like listen to piano music where it just calms me and relaxes me. Um I feel like music like that really balances it out for me because if I'm always on the gas pedal, go, 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 you know, I'd be exhausted all the time. I need that moment to like pull me back.
It's not all the time is the like rocky music.
Yeah, yeah. You know, sometimes you need the rocky music. Sometimes you do gotta run in snow. Sometimes you gotta chop the trees down, but sometimes you gotta sit back, relax, and you know, really appreciate what you have and what you've done.
Okay, Christian. So many thanks for the conversation. I think that next year you will add a few more wins because I think that right now you are one of the best flyweights in the promotion, and I hope that maybe even next year UFC would have you on the radar and you will be on the like short list of fighters that should be there.
You know, that's the goal. You know, to make it into the UFC 2025. Once I make it to the UFC, we're gonna run off and we're gonna, you know, slowly move up the rankings and hopefully fight for a title. You know, within the near future. And to think about all of this happening within the next few years, because in reality, these goals with me being into the UFC, being top 50 and being in the champion, it's not far at all. You know, like me being in the UFC, that's within the year because it's end of this year already. I want to get into the UFC within 2025. I want to be top 15 within a year of being in the UFC. Hopefully, maybe a year after that, hopefully I'll be a title contender. At the same time, we take it step by step. We have our big goals that we want to achieve, but we also got to take it one day at a time, and one fight at a time.
But in flyweight division, everything is possible.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the flyweight division gets deeper as the years go on. But to be honest, I'm not complaining about that. I'm super excited for it.
Okay, so once again, thank you for the time.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate the time.